What is evangelization? Sounds almost like a trivial question, but it's an extremely important question. And it's important partly because of the problem of proselytizing. We're going to do a whole video on that and Jesus' scary words about not proselytizing. But there's so many little wrong ideas about it. For example, I don't want to spend too much time on people who just think you're trying to get someone to read a little set prayer and then they'll be saved, I do think that if you take that idea and generalize it, it's really about conversion moments, And there's a mysterious thing in Christianity that is conversion. It's mysterious because we don't really understand how it works in ourselves and others and all of these things. I don't think we ever will understand. And your evangelization cannot be focused just on these conversion moments. Partly because you have very little to do with your own conversion moment, let alone someone else's conversion moment. It's mysterious, it's intimate between them and God. When you are there for a conversion moment, as an evangelist or even as a bystander, you're honored to be there. You're witnessed to by the moment more than any witness you're giving. And it's just so special. And really, the evangelization that may have contributed to that moment happened throughout that person's life. It was the love of their mom to them. It was words said by friends. It was the witness of Christians and other people throughout their lives. All of those things go into that conversion moment, not the evangelist who happens to be standing there when it happens. So I tend to think that if you're trying to run a ministry that it's just going to be about conversion moments, your ministry is a fraud. That's a pretty general statement. Don't know what to say about it. Evangelization is so much more than that. Evangelization is helping someone improve their relationship with God. And that conversion moment is so cool and so special and beautiful. And I hope we have many moments as cool and beautiful and special as that throughout our lives. But really, anything you do to help someone improve their relationship with God, that is your evangelization. So what does that mean? Just think of all the different ways where people are and where you can bring them in their relationship with God. There are people out there who believe that God straight up hates them. If you just take that person and get them to the point where they think God just doesn't hate them, maybe doesn't love them, but doesn't hate them, that's an evangelization right there. There's people who believe that God doesn't care about them, that they're not important enough. Convincing them that God has a personal interest in them, that would be the evangelization. There's people who believe God can't forgive their sins. Getting rid of that idea. There's people who believe that God can't help them with their problems or just doesn't want to because they've asked and he didn't. Helping them understand what's going on in their life, what's maybe standing in the way in that relationship. That's evangelization. And even people believe that God doesn't exist, or at least claim to believe God doesn't exist. Just getting them more curious, getting them to wonder, not proving them wrong necessarily, but bothering them a little bit. getting them a little bit worried, what if God does exist? That can be evangelization. So improving someone's relationship with God almost always means improving their knowledge of God by giving them truth. It also means improving their idea of God, improving their image of God. We almost all have an unworthy image of God, and we're always trying to refine that and get that to be a more and more worthy image of God. And improving their vision of God, helping them see God in their lives more clearly. And the only way to do this really is if we are already friends with God. And by friend I don't mean like a buddy, or an imaginary friend. God is so other, it's so different than anyone else we've ever met, that our relationship with him is just on a whole different plane than that. Human words aren't really fit for it, but I'm using the word friendship because it means like an appreciation, like you you like God. You're thankful for Him. You feel blessed by Him. You're comforted by Him. It's a nice person to have around. You want Him around. You want Him around more. You know, being in love with Him is obviously a more perfect way of putting that, you know, but I think friendship has a certain intimacy in the words that is very good for the sake of evangelization. And if you're not coming from a place where you're liking God around, that you're appreciating God, that you're feeling blessed by Him, and that you're thankful for Him, then when you're evangelizing, you're talking about someone who you don't really know, which is kind of like gossip. Or you're just kind of like reading out of a book to somebody. Like you're saying, let me give you a class on theology. I've learned a few things about this man named God. Neither of which is really worth your energy. You know, like if that's where you're at right now, don't go evangelize. Go work on your relationship with God. That'll probably be an evangelization. People just seeing you trying to do that. And you must be earnest in all of this. And there's going to be people that you meet who are dealing with problems that you've never conceived of dealing with, you know. They're struggling with things like addiction to like crack, or maybe they're have a sexual attraction that's totally illegal or illicit or whatever, or who knows what types of issues they have about respecting themselves, and all these things. And you may never have actually been there where they're at. Like your conversion was kind of in a different realm. You were dealing with this type of issue, and they've got this type of issue, And people will still listen to you if you have love and if you're earnest. And you don't have to like totally understand where they're at, but if you kind of know where they're going and where they need to be going, they'll listen, as you point the way and as you try to share with them. And you're only going to be earnest if you're doing it out of love, not doing it out of guilt or any lesser motivation than love. So take that. This video was just a definition. Evangelization is move someone closer to the Lord. Doesn't mean move them past that conversion point or baptize them, move them all the way into the church. That'd be great. Doesn't always happen. But you're doing evangelization if you're taking that person and moving them closer to the Lord. And that's what you're called to do at all times. And think about that, pray about that, reflect on that. And the other videos will hopefully be more helpful on how to do that.